it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, October 8th. So today we do have the moon in Pisces moving out of this very deep emotional healing and endings type of waters to move into Aries energy, setting us up for our full moon in Aries on Sunday. So we do have the moon void from 7:11 a.m. to 11:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, shifting from the moon in Pisces to the moon in Aries is always a very noticeable shift, mostly because we are done with the endings, with the closure, with the grief, with the heaviness, with the pain, with the trauma, with the karmic circumstances being thrown at us, the memories, the emotions, the ideas that accompany that. And in Aries energy, we are refreshed. We are positioned to kind of take the lead, to push ourselves forward. We're ready to, take control over our lives, even though some of the circumstances that we're currently facing, we had no control over. We're at the point where we are just kind of tired of surrendering and going with the flow, and where we are kind of bossing up and unleashing a new level of our spiritual warrior selves in order to take life by the horns and actually make up for some of the painful experiences, for some of the karmic circumstances that have definitely been thrown at us. Today, we also have Pluto going direct. If you have not listened to that astro forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so. We are going to kind of feel this subtle shift, although I say subtle only because it is an outer planet. But of course, Pluto comes with a lot of intensity. And we've had a little bit of a feeling over the last couple of weeks that we were building towards something big, that something was about to take place, that something was just around the corner. Well, this is the initiation of seeing things actually move forward. And of course, Pluto being the god of the underworld, ruling over death and rebirth, renewal, resurrection, and essentially regeneration and transformation, you best believe that our landscape is definitely going to change, definitely going to look different after this past 5.5 months of sitting inside of ourselves, feeling powerless, feeling helpless, examining our pain and our trauma, and not really knowing what we're going to do with it. Well, we are, even if we don't have a plan together as of yet, we are going to do something about it. We are going to boss up and make some powerful and profound changes in our lives. We're going to be able to take the internalized energy from the retrograde and kind of move it out into the external realm. And we are going to be able to just feel a little bit more in control than we have over the past 6 months. So here today, we are feeling a lot. Again, I talked about this weekend being a very intense, very, very transformative weekend. We have Pluto going direct. Within a couple of hours, we have the full moon in Aries, which is an absolute game changer. And of course, we have the final days, the final hours of Mercury being in Virgo energy as we prepare to re-enter into Libra energy. And of course, we're still in Libra season. So the spotlight is on finding peace, on finding balance, on finding stability, on having harmony in our lives. And of course, many of us absolutely being rocked in the extremes of those particular qualities and characteristics. Although in order to achieve those particular end goals, we do kind of have to sit in the polarization of what it is to actually sit in the chaos in order to find clarity, to sit in the instability in order to find stability, to really kind of waver in order to find balance, and to really sit in the funk of not being able to accept and make peace with some of the situations and circumstances that have been thrown at us. It is going to be a very pressurized weekend, and we are definitely starting to feel the energy build. So there are 9 different aspects here today, and 7 of them involve the moon. The moon, before we even think about going void, of course, is still very much in Pisces energy, and we will come up to, sit next to, bump into Neptune, who is in Pisces energy, retrograde, of course. And you best believe that this is going to bring up all the feels. Now, this is both a good and bad thing, depending on the energy that you tap into. The positives of this is that this can be a clean slate, a very cleansing time where we are seeing wounds be healed, where we are seeing chapters close in order for new ones to begin. We are kind of aligning with our higher selves. We are inspired and motivated to kind of be done with certain circumstances, topics, and themes. And we are definitely ready to bring things full circle. Or we could be so freaking overwhelmed that we want to numb ourselves, that we want to disassociate, that we want to escape from reality until it sorts itself out. We're having a hard time really accepting life as it is. And of course, that can just make us want to curl up in a ball and just kind of stay in bed until brighter days are outside of our window. Hopefully, I would hope that all of us are able to tap into the pros of this energy. But of course, because we are in this very intense window weekend, we can definitely see the shadow elements, the not so nice parts, rear their ugly heads. The moon is going to sextile with Pluto, the great transformer, just hours before he goes direct. Now, this is a good energy. This means that we are kind of bossing up. We are seeing where it is that we have to make changes, where it is that we have to turn the pain into power, where it is we have to turn the darkness into light, where it is that there's a shift in our psyche, in our heart space, motivating us to engage the physical body to go ahead and take action when we're given the green light go ahead to do so. This is a boss up. This is us kind of regaining our power. This is us really stepping into a new place of authority where we can take control over some of the aspects that we have felt powerless and not in control over. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a jittery energy, a little bit of an intense time, of course, with the weekend that we're in. How could it not be? And the last aspect that the moon is going to make is a complete opposition with Mercury. So this is at a 7:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our emotions and our mental plane are not going to be getting along. They are not going to be seeing eye to eye. They are going to be totally polarized, totally opposite, totally in a conflict. We have the moon, of course, in Pisces energy, emotionally transforming our inner realm. We have Mercury in its place of power in Virgo, still trying to piece together all that has taken place to make sense of some of the circumstances that have been thrown at us. There's a level of us trying to understand the spiritual lessons that we're supposed to be learning, while the ego is struggling to make peace with that particular concept, as life just does not seem like it is fair. Again, Libran energy, justice, fairness. We might not be there. Maybe we have to be illuminated to all the injustices, all the unfairness, in order for us to kind of make our way to find peace, to find harmony with some of the situations that have happened. This particular energy is going to have us all kind of cluster effed, all up in us, our heart and our head, not in agreement at all. The Mercury energy of the mental plane wants to think logical and practical, very kind of stuck in this 3D realm and the situations and circumstances that kind of dictate what is possible for us based off of our current circumstances. While the moon, of course, in Pisces is anything but stuck in this present moment, anything but stuck in this physical realm. We are thinking of the possibilities and trying to project ourselves outside of these physical circumstances to see where the spiritual lesson, the karmic lessons are at play. The moon, while still void, is going to semi-square the true node. The true node is our soul's path, our destiny's point, and right now we have no clue what our future is going to look like. Like I'd mentioned, Pluto going direct is totally going to change the landscape of our realities and moving forward. And right now, with the information and circumstances that just kind of slapped us in our face, we don't know if we're coming or going. We don't know if we're going left from right. We don't know up from down. We're trying to make sense of it, but nothing makes sense. And we're getting a little bit overwhelmed here. And therefore, we don't know where it is that we are moving ahead, because right now we are very much nostalgic and sticking to the past. seeing that the past is actually preventing us from moving forward, seeing that the past is actually kind of consuming our mental plane and our emotional power at this particular time, our future isn't something that we're even really keen on thinking about. 11:30 a.m., this is when Pluto goes direct. Please go ahead and listen to that astro forecast to gain a bigger, brighter picture on what that actually means for us. And then just 27 minutes later, we have the moon locking into Aries energy. You best believe you're going to feel totally different after the moon locks into Aries energy. We kind of tap into a warrior spirit. We are headstrong. We are hell-bent and determined that we're going to take action. We are going to make something out of some of the tougher situations that have been thrown our way, and we will stop at nothing until there's some kind of justice or redemption being served. We have to make sense out of some of the things that don't make sense. We have to kind of pluck the silver linings out of the darker circumstances. And we really do have to focus on where it is that we need to boss up in our lives and really turn some of the painful experiences into one of the most powerful experiences that we could ever have dreamed of. The moon is going to go ahead, conjunct, sit next to, bump into Jupiter, who is retrograde in this Aries energy, preparing to dip back into the Pisces energy at the end of October. And this is definitely going to magnify whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling. Of course, we are focused on growth. We are focused on belief. We are focused on blessings and abundance. But right now, it's really hard to see the forest through the trees. And because of this, we are kind of fired up in a way that would suggest that we do want to grow. We do want to improve. We definitely want to change this landscape, but we're overwhelmed with what thoughts and feelings are coming into our realm right now and very confused on how it is that we're actually going to move forward in this particular new landscape. The moon is going to semi-square Uranus and then semi-square Saturn, and you best believe this is a tug of war. Uranus, of course, wants to open ourselves up to seeing where it is that we have to let go of certain aspects that we just don't know how we're going to live without, open our minds up to be a little bit spontaneous, to show us where it is that there's a brand new perspective, a brand new path, a brand new vision that needs to kind of be concocted here out of the changes that have taken place, while Saturn brings us down a bit, little bit of somber seriousness added to this particular element. We are kind of a little bit fixated, where negative Nancy comes into play, fixated on where it is that we're going to have to restructure and rebuild our landscape, our lives, our goals, where it is that some of the elements that have been taken away from us need to be rebuilt altogether. Lastly, we have Venus making a positive aspect with Uranus. And of course, this is a positive aspect throughout the day that we could really use at this particular point. And this is going to open us up to see where there are new connections coming in, pieces of the puzzle snapping together, where there are new people entering into our realm, where there's a new vision of what it is that we want for ourselves, where love and money are concerned. Of course, we're in Libra season, where relationships are dynamically changing each and every freaking day. And of course, when the relationships in our lives change, it changes the landscape of the plans that we've had. This is going to shock us a little bit, open us up, open up our minds and our heart space to see what the possibilities are now that some people have been removed, now that some situations have evolved into something different than what it is that we thought they were. And now we really have to kind of get down to the nitty-gritty on what our future landscape is going to look like.